love him so much. Thank you, Paul. Before I get to my encore song, I want to talk a little bit about my HD journey. And we all have seen from my video and just from self-experiences what HD is like, but it's something truly different when it's something that you're living with, not only with your family, but when you get your own diagnosis. So 3 years ago, my grandfather was diagnosed with Huntington's, and when my grandmother told me that, I had no idea what Huntington's was. I felt sympathy for him, but I couldn't really relate, and I didn't know what this did or that it was genetic. And so my eyes really opened up when a year later, 2 summers ago, my father was diagnosed positive as well. And right when I moved into my sophomore year at Belmont University, I was unpacking my room and my family had left. And my roommate wasn't in at the time. And I got a call from my dad saying, Brianna just got her test results back, she has JHD, which for those of you who don't know is the juvenile HD, it's the children's version. So she struggles with her walking, talking, eating. And I just remember everyone had left me, my roommate wasn't there, my dad just called, and I just sat in my dorm room and cried. And progressively throughout that entire year, my mental health declined. I had started the testing process back in the summer, but my mom had talked me into waiting until I came home to get my results, because no matter what your result is, whether you're positive or negative, it is a life-changing diagnosis, and I wasn't ready to swallow that pill alone. So I went through these emotional trials, and my dad would call me and update me on Brianna and tell me that she was getting worse, and then I was getting worse, and that was probably one of the hardest years of my life. And when he was awaiting disability, waited 2.5 years to get that, and Brianna was constantly in the hospital, and I was starting to lose my mental health. And so we were looking at finances and just what was good for my own sanity, and I said, you know, I think I need to come home for a bit. And it was hard because Nashville, growing up, that was always where I wanted to be, was Nashville, Tennessee, and Belmont was my dream school. But everything happens for a reason. I came back here, and I'm very into my faith, and for whatever reason, I had this gut feeling for about 8 months leading up to my diagnosis that I had it. And I told my roommate a couple times, and funny enough, she actually has her own disease she's battling with, which is far more aggressive than I am even at right now, but she was such a crutch for me, and she said, I think you're starting to lose it. And I said, well, I am, but I really think I have this disease. And I feel like that was God just trying to walk me through those baby steps before that big day came, because I got my test results and I was told I was positive, and there is no cure, and so we can't tell you when or how severe you will get these, but at some point in your time without a cure you will. And I just sat there in shock, and I didn't cry for about 2 or 3 months, and my mom just started bawling. And my genetic counselor was like, you can choose to be quiet about this, you can keep it private. And I just looked at her and I said, God has a greater calling for me than to be silent about this, and if someone doesn't talk about it, we're not going to cure it, and we're not going to raise awareness. So from then on, I made it my mission to make this something bigger than just being a victim to something. I wanted to be a champion. And I wrote the song Champion that is on my CD before I ever knew about HD. And we were writing it, my friend and I recorded it, released it, and then the HD came into play. And I was like, holy moly, like this song I wrote about Sylvester Stallone and conquering your fears and challenges. What you saw in the video, that was the quote that inspired this whole song. And I thought I needed to write a song for other people who were struggling, but I didn't realize that I was having my greatest struggle of my entire life. And so I combined that with the HD, and Champions for HD began because I watched my dad, again with a disability, my sister in the hospital, legal medical bills, and I said, you know, I want to do something. I want to be someone who can say, don't worry about that, I will pay for it, I will cover it, I will be there for you, because I never think that we can do enough for people who are suffering. And so my goal with Champions for HD is to help with local research. There's so much local research going on right now. And Heather and Mike Ludlum, they are here tonight, and I don't know if any of you went and talked to them, but they are doing so many amazing things with the Shepherd's Gift. And Heather told me if they only had $10 million, they could have this thing done in a year. And I don't have $10 million, but I still think that that is so cool what they're doing, and I just wish that I could do more. So I want to help them. I want to help other people who can't afford genetic testing. Genetic testing is anywhere from $1,300 to $2,000, and I've talked to people who said, I cannot afford to find out my test result. My insurance won't cover it, or will only cover half of it. And that should never be a dictator of whether or not you find out something that is so traumatizing, no matter what. And I also want to help people like myself. Now that I know I am a woman who wants to have children someday, I need to go through secondary options such as in vitro fertilization to make sure that HD stops with me and does not go on to my children. So I want to fill that gap for people who are suffering around me and help them while we're not only fighting for a cure, but fighting for each other. So before I sing this song for you, I want to really acknowledge a couple people in my life who I feel like embody what being a champion is. So I have 2 people I would like to honor tonight. And, well, 3 actually. If Heather and Mike Ludlam would mind coming up to the stage. I know I didn't tell you this was going to happen, so I'm sorry. But if you could come up here, that would be awesome. I met Heather and Mike actually the week after I got diagnosed. I came home and they invited me to their farm and I got to play with all their sheep. And they walked me through for about an hour and told me all that they do. And I was so moved and so inspired, and they are another huge part of the reason why I thought that I need to do more. I need to help amazing people like this who have a great cause. So, come on out, Cole. Cole's playing Vanna White. I sprung this on him. So, as I said, Champions for HD is new, and we don't have $10 million, but we do have some. And we wanted to give you guys our first donation check of $500. We really believe in you and what you're doing. We hope you appreciate it.
I want to say one thing about Shelby. We found Shelby because she was so brave. As soon as she got diagnosed, she wrote a blog post, and it showed up, I guess, on my Facebook feed because of my connections to HD. I have no idea. And I read that blog post at like 6 in the morning, I think on a Sunday morning, like you wrote it the night before or something. And I was so moved, and I told Mike, this girl isn't playing well. You know, she's like 20 minutes up the road from us. We have to reach out to her, and like we connected immediately. And I think we all can make such a difference with our connection.